Oh.
Where's the chair?
Can everybody on Zoom hear?
Kind of. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, copy and paste it, or- It's. Within the spread covenant administration.
That's everything.
Under resources, that is.
Good job. Well. We're short two senators to make, to have a member, so, yeah, give me 12, there's only. Oh, Zoom, oh, wait, hold on, no, we are at 12, never mind, there's two on Zoom. Before we call to order, I have one house rule for all the senators who are, no longer serving after this meeting. Once we swear in the new senators, they'll just be trading places with them. Yeah, so, the new senior senators will replace the old ones. The new junior senators will be replacing the current ones, so on and so forth, all the way up to international. So let's try to make that transition as smooth as possible. Thank you.
They're actually graduated, so. Senator De Jesus. Late. Senator Gupta, present. Senator Amashni. Senator Rothman. Senator Ahmed. Senator Castro, present. Senator Prince here. Senator Azir.
Here.
Senator Orr. Senator Diaz. Here. Senator Prince.
President.
Senator Patel.
Here.
Senator Farragella.
Present.
Senator Agenov. Here. Senator Rubio.
President.
Senator Lee.
President.
Senator-elect Dempsey. Present. Senator-elect Centeno. Senator-elect Howard. Present. Senator-elect Jenkins. Present. Senator-elect Mahesh Mari. Present. Senator-elect Tirta.
Here.
Senator Pro Tempore Spivak. President Wright. Present. I'm here. Chief of Staff,
Present.
Attorney General. Chief Communications. Chief Financial Officer. Here. Cool. We'll move into the executive address by President Wright.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate all of our senators elect and all of our re-elected senators. You will be sworn in soon, and I cannot wait to work with you all in the fall of 2025. I would like to thank election chairwoman Casanova Ghosh for her tireless work during the spring 2025 senatorial and ballot measure elections. T-shirts for Ayusha during the elections and during the tabling process, and I appreciate all the senators and the members of the executive cabinet who were able to help on election day. I would like to congratulate all the members of the student government of the College Board of Larson University as we received the Collaborative Action Award at the 2025 Community Leader Awards last week. We must continue to work together to serve the needs of the student body. At the end of this semester, my administration will be concluding our first half of our time in SGA leadership. I cannot be more proud of our progress. We have independently worked to ensure that the Senate and student government at large functions at capacity. We have worked hand in hand with you all in order to collaborate with other clubs and organizations to foster meaningful programming, celebrate members of our community, advocate for civic duty, and continually making the efforts to make New Drew a better place for all College of our students. But the work is not done yet. Congratulations to our graduating seniors, Senator Benjamin Castro and Evan Prats. We thank you for your service and wish you the best in your future endeavors. I look forward to the semester ahead and hope that you all will enjoy the rest of your semester and make the best out of your summer. Lastly, if you'd like to meet with me for any reasons, just fill out this form over here. Thank you.
Now it's on to student concerns and compliments. So I'll open it up to the floor. Yes.
Again, I just wanted to thank Jordan for all the hard work she's done. She's pulled a lot, in terms of getting people to vote. And I'm just really, truly appreciative of her hard work and dedication. So claps to Jordan, guys.
Does anybody else have any student concerns or compliments? Yes.
Compliments to the entire SGA since the moment I was elected in. You guys have all done a great job and I'm kind of been more happier to have been part of this team.
Cool. Anybody else? Yes.
Compliments to Senator Farragut for the dunk tank. Right.
Yes.
Concerns, it's a simple thing, but PC and whole science is kind of chilly these days.
I agree with you.
I've also heard that.
It's cold and.
Does anyone know what could be done about temperature regulation?
I
Yeah,
believe there is a thermostat.
I know the one in HS4 does not work. So it seems like some type of central control.
Check it out.
VP Merckx, is there anything?
It's a reach out to facilities.
This, okay.
Yeah. I mean, this room itself is controlled at the moment. Then it'll be hot.
At least it isn't hot. Does anyone else have anything to say? Cool. Then we can move on to action items. So the first one will be swearing in of our new senators by Attorney General Plum. You're doing it all. Okay, so all new senators, could you please stand up? Cool.
Okay, ready? I state your name. Swear to uphold and defend. The Constitution and the bylaws. Of the student government of Drew University. I promise to carry out the office of. Your position. and to represent my constituency. The best of my ability. Congratulations.
Now, with the person. Graduates and Travis Board.
You're still president.
And take your name tag.
She has to do it next year if you graduate in 2 years.
What?
Other people, like people who serve one semester.
Is everyone situated?
Hi, I am
Hey.
Junior. Spot to the.
No, you're in North.
You can replace the. So we'll move on with an update from Chair Alaini. Yeah.
I know you don't, done, well, I guess somebody reaches out. Do you want me to read this one out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
no,
not the whole thing. Can everyone take a minute to please read this independently? The summary.
okay. Wait.
And you could explain at the beginning what this is for specifically.
Sure, yeah, so this is essentially, I'm calling it a resolution that proposes a basic governance phase. It ensures that Bob's funding decisions reflect the ethical standards adopted by student government. It kind of came about when we were discussing, you know, what is the purpose of the referendum, especially the one that was specific to clubs adopting PDS guidelines and the student vote, yes or no, on if they should. And we were saying like, this was to circumvent the possible repercussions of using the referendum. So, I created this resolution with the SRC. Yeah, it's essentially to address the gap between what student government has voted on and what Bob is required to enforce. This resolution aligns the bylaws to make that connection clear, fair, and enforceable, just like other schools have done. I'm happy to answer any questions.
That's good. So take a minute to read it. After. So this basically means that
I don't know if
clubs.
everybody has access, like you do, raise it up in the screen, you can read it, but it's like 4 pages.
Oh, it's 4 pages.
Yeah, so I don't think everybody or doesn't have the access, it's read the whole thing.
Okay, we have the second page up now. So, to summarize, basically anything the student government like has decided in the past has to be applied to clubs now. Because they receive funding from bond.
Yeah, and I mean, it's specifically referring to ethical, like, standard, right? If you guys as a Senate or city government cabinet, right, all you guys. Decide on like, this is how we're gonna take, like, we're gonna make this ethical standard in student government. Why doesn't that trickle down to the committees or to the clubs that are funded by a club committee? Student government, that's kind of like
Well, yeah, I read.
the question there. I don't know if I actually answered.
Yeah, Senator From-
So, point of inquiry, so with that being said, like, would you necessarily want, like, the committees to gather together with Senate? Like, more often to discuss issues, or what is it, what exactly is it?
I think you're trying to say, not all the money that like I give out for Bob,
Right,
like we have to make sure that all the clubs that we're giving money to are like are operating under these practices. basically, Right,
Yeah, if you guys come out with like a guideline, like, oh, we're doing BS guidelines, I'm using BS as an example, I hope that people come to you with like other. You know, things that they want student government to. Make sense on, but BDS is my example, so, you guys said we don't want our student government funding to. It needs to be under BDS guidelines, right, Board of Investment Sanctions, which was voted on last year. And if you guys want that to apply to clubs, that's what this resolution will do, like I said, you're voting on.
So that list of companies you have, that you said were complicit in Israeli apartheid, you can't, clubs can't spend money at those companies.
thank you.
And if it's in violation,
I have that in there, I feel like it would have been better for me to read this out just a little bit, because I'm feeling like there's a lot of details that are missed, but.
is there any, like, things you want to specifically highlight?
Sure, I mean, so that question you just asked, how is it gonna be like enforced essentially, it's in. It says, further resolve that the Social Responsibility Committee in collaboration with the CFO and Bob shall take steps to ensure clear communication of the updated funding guidelines to all student government recognized clubs. This shall include a written notice distributed to all club leaders following the adoption of this resolution. A brief informational presentation or Q&A at the next mandatory club training or funding workshop. Posted summary of BDS aligned guidelines on the student government website and or the Office of Student Activities Research page. Club staff be in potential violation of these guidelines will receive a written warning, and if needed, be offered a meeting with FRC and the CFO to clarify expectations. For any funding penalties are considered.
Sounds good. Yes,
So this isn't currently being done, it's not like a doubling down on expectations, it's just a new actual program.
It's closing the gap, right? Like I even mentioned in there's like a lot of times when a university, right, I had at the top, whereas, peer institutions such as University of Michigan, Loyola University, Chicago, and multiple universities of California campuses have recognized that the student government's past ethical standards. Those standards extend to the funding boards and other governance substructures. I agree that doesn't seem to exist. Like, we don't seem to say like, hey, Bob, are you guys like making sure that your guidelines and guidelines that you have, and Bob does have guidelines in the bylaws, it says, oh, we don't want people. I don't know, something that's full.
One of the, if you look at the current bylaws for Bob, this would be a complete rewrite of some of the bylaws for Bob, which would be of significance. Right now, the bylaws for Bob talk about content neutrality, which is a legal term, which often is the requirement, and this is some of the conversations I've had with the SRC for how funding would be there. So you're looking at things that are content neutral. So again, if you look at the Bob, Bob Appendix 2, 2, letter F, ensuring that all events held by student government or Bob funding are open and inclusive to all members of the Duke University. I, with the letter after that, or Roman numeral one. Retaining a neutral viewpoint, not making decisions based on religious, political, or personal views. All viewpoints, including those that are controversial, will have the people's chance of receiving funding. However, viewpoint neutrality does not equate to all groups being funded equally, where the oppositional views have to be funded for each event. So some of that would tie into how some clubs or organizations might interpret some of that language coming in, that this would now not be a content neutrality. So, and that's some of the conversations we've been having with the SRC of looking to, again, have some of the principles that are in there, but also to make sure that it does fall into that. There's significant case law that allows student governments to set rules for themselves that they might not be able to set for other public organizations. For example, by saying you cannot be online in a way. We're a private institution, so there's slightly more leeway than if it was a public institution, for example. That's where sort of the dialogue and conversation that going around of where that middle ground. So there would have to be reread of some of the other departments of on that with the name. But it's also hard because all of you, and they really don't even know I am, I'm trying to. The vice president here, so part of administration, but also a long-standing advisor to student government, which also obviously, as I see, is part of student government as well. So and probably very few of you who have read and recall what would be in, you know, the bylaws of the student government, because it's probably 15 pages. President Ray.
Just to briefly add for point of clarification. Student government as an organization is already following these guidelines because the Senate last spring passed a resolution for this, just for student government to follow these EDS guidelines. The question today is, should we now extend that to all public organizations out there?
That are funded by Bob.
Yes.
Right.
Which is a law.
A majority of all.
But the reason why I make that distinction is because that's your opinion, like that's the student government.
Yeah.
So it's under you guys. I did want to add just real quick, I'm sorry, I don't know about the hand raising. I do know about it, I'm just not pulling it. I was gonna say that on the point of neutrality, I think this is like hitting at a point, I'm certainly going to this. Does neutrality mean ethical incoherence, right? Like if a club or a committee operates incoherently with what you guys voted on as student government, and you guys are funding that, where does the line kind of start in? And that's kind of what this hopefully is getting at.
I'd just be concerned about how it's very sweeping and applies to most organizations, and I understand that student governments, you know, we collectively wanted to do this. But then to expand it to everybody, a lot of people which don't clearly agree with student government, that's something for you guys to think about. Did anyone else want to say? Yes.
I just think because since we have like so many new senators on board, and also a lot of them don't even have access to the document. I think it's important that we know what we're reading over and that we vote on something that we all agree with. So I think it's important, I think that we move on to this table it, so that everybody can read the document. There's a lot of headings.
So, yeah.
Just for clarification, what do you mean as far as your concern for people that don't agree with student government?
I mean, I know people who don't agree, and I'm sure you guys do too, with what student government has done. And although we do the best we can to, you know, represent our constituency, there's always going to be gaps, especially when certain clubs and organizations don't, you know, they're made up of certain people who don't entirely agree with what student government says. I understand that Bob is under us, and what we decide is what they want to do. But I just wanted to throw it out there as a consideration, so people understand how far reaching this would be. But, you know,
So basically, but in the current setup we have, the student council has no actual enforcement mechanism for anything it passes. They can't do anything through Bob, which would be the only mechanism that it enforces. So this would allow an enforcement mechanism, but then we couldn't. Frank said, we couldn't extend that to say, fundraise money, it would have to be only what we allocate. Like, we couldn't fix, we have no complete control over them, just what we allocate to do.
Which the majority.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say, like, to your comment earlier, isn't that what like democracy is? Like, I
Yes, of
understand
course,
that
that's why,
people
yeah.
don't agree with you guys, but you were voted in. So you do have the voice and the power to, and if people are so concerned, then vote in someone else or run yourself, you know? So like, feel like you have the power to, as senators, like, make that influence. Yeah.
But does everyone feel like they're clear on what this means? So to address your points?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Senator Dion?
Also, I mean, I understand like wanting to represent everyone as a whole, like obviously that's the whole point. But this also isn't new. This, I feel like this is something that's been delayed for a long time, and if it was really that contentious of an issue to the point where we feel that people that are gonna disagree should be under that level of consideration. Something probably would have been done to stop it by now, other than delay it up to this point, so I don't know that it's a useful consideration, at least with that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, just to add, in agreement with Senator Dion, if you just go back in time a bit, at that meeting where this resolution was presented to the Senate, there were a bunch of students in here in support of said resolution, opposed to the amount of students here in attendance against said legislation, so just state that, so.
For the new senators who were here. Well, does anybody have anything else to say? Yes.
Talk about like kind of like that at the end, before meeting, but like. For grant aid, like federal grant aid, maybe there's any influence on that.
Yeah, I mean, the Trump administration has just sent out guidance that says they will not give grant money to people that have DEI and BDS language in any part of their institution. So that is something that's out there currently and could impact funding sources that are there. In reality, I think probably every college might have CEI language in it. Right, and then some schools have BDS language represented there. And many people might not know what the SRC is, but it is a committee of student government. Arguably, probably the most active committee the last 2 or 3 years. And it's been very thoughtful in the work that they have done throughout that timeframe. So the stuff that they bring forward is not just stuff that happened within it, right? So it's stuff that has been working through. So the grant funding component, you know, it's stuff that would impact students, for example. We have grants that are funded for mental health, grants that are funded for security and other different aspects. Right now, the grants that they are focusing in on pulling funding from are NIH grants and other different aspects. That was an article that was released last week. Any administration gets to set the rules that they have for when they get another grant. It's like, that's just one, so that's fluctuated throughout. And how that would be, again, with everything you're expecting more challenge to take place. Which is also a reality of what happens with controlling of public funding too, sometimes court second as well. Again, that happens almost exclusively at public institutions because of the way the funding structure is there. So that's how that is. So there's just, as we all know, the last 3 to 4 months have been different in many ways than how it would be. And, you know, the courts now are actually getting more involved. We're going after the executive branch because there are 3 branches. The legislative branch pretty much sleeps with the time in the United States the last 30 years. But except for probably Obamacare, but the last 30 years they did. And then a lot of it's been executive bureaucracy under the executive and then the courts. So the courts, thankfully, right, especially when it comes to some of the stuff that was happening on student visas, they are now interacting in a much more positive way that is much more normal. So that's language that we expect to be in every federal grant offer, that is the DEI component or the BDS component. But that's the current issues of this administration. You know, for some reason, Title VI is all inclusive of things, but this current administration is focusing on anti-Semitism. Just like Title IX, it's all inclusive of a lot of different things. This administration is focusing on trans athletes and that's, welcome to what's complicated, right? So that's just, it's not out there. What that means for us, who knows, right, because we haven't go through that yet, but that is, that is. And these are all conversations we've had with the SRC. It's not as if it's not stuff we haven't done there, it's been sort of a successful, much that conversation for all. So that's stuff that was there, and if the committee of students that was bringing forward, other different stuff that similar to what has been brought up before. And I don't recall, but we were trying to figure, I don't know, do you remember what the vote was, in the one referendum? I think it was 15-6 last April, so I don't know what the actual numbers were, just so that we understand. I think it was. So, but it passed with a majority, right, so.
President Wright, look it up now. For new senators, the agenda has been shared with you, so you can access all the material. And in the future, you guys see we have laptops. I think the easiest way to do things, so please bring it nice. So, yeah.
Just also a brief clarification for Jack's question. The concerning like the language of what we have already. This also really wouldn't change anything as far as the risk that's already there, right? This is kind of just an expansion of what's already there. Do you know what I'm getting at? I feel like it doesn't really change that much in terms of like the risk of loss of family funding.
The only risk is that it's going from controlling your own pocketbook of $10,000 to controlling the pocketbook of the organization.
Okay.
And in essence, what that is saying then is another sign that can come at any point and have other things there. So, and that's sort of where potentially, there's different student organizations and clubs that can bring in lawsuits for any reasons.
Right,
So that stuff that would be there. So it's always a risk, no matter who you are and what you are, which is the other side of the issue. It's something that's always there.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference would be potentially.
Okay.
So like if you're setting up rules for how you're controlling your Senate, that can change every little year, right? So as it goes into something else that's there. But yeah, it's not lost on me that we already have that are sitting there. Stuff that we shared before, the current. Federal prosecutor for the state of New Jersey, my brother went through it 12 times. So obviously they're aware of the truth. So. We just found out there are kind of governor and our attorney general on PI issues, which. So. Yeah.
And for new senators, you guys can see the SRC BDS resolution if you haven't already, by clicking the link on this, Attorney General blog.
The vote count resolution was 11-3-1 on yes, names and abstentions. And I have a question, is it possible to have like a survey where the clubs that Bob funds can opt in or out for BDS, and then they can be held on those standards?
I think we're very flexible, like SRC is extremely flexible with what you guys talk about, like that is something I think all of us in the committee would be very open to. Yeah, that we do a recommendation, we can do whatever, but like. Yeah.
That way, like the students, the clubs that do want to follow that, they can and they can be held to those standards, and those that do not want to follow those, and that way it can maintain the neutrality of it too.
Right, we talked about that in the SRC meeting too. There's certain clubs where we do not get funding because they did not want to follow some rule. One of them is IVCS, a Varsity Christian Fellowship. Is you have to be quote unquote born again Christian, but we didn't know executive, and they don't want to pull that from their mission statement. So if they're not funded, then they can accomplish this based upon that. So it is probably good in certain spots. And there's other ways too, where then all of the funding structure for Drew is different than other different areas, right? So some of the other students, something I mentioned, the student government has their own fee that is out there, right? So this is kind of the way that we fund our general. Somebody is the same. And so, and some of the, so the way in which the structure stuff is done is just. So because this is part of the general fee, then also get the layer of deduction, which then means that there will be multiple organizations that would not participate, that it would fill the essence of the language and money to be pulled out. For example, the equine, other different things.
I'm trying so hard to focus on, I'm sorry.
Everybody needs their outside sessions.
But I feel like, sorry, but like, that way. It's not like, I don't want to separate it from the do not follow it. Like, were you saying like this would separate it from the do follow and don't? The
Yeah, I mean, so there's people who might want to, I mean, to be totally blunt, the federal government has responded to federal complaints against Stream University. One of them was on clubs and organizations in which we were not allowed, all of our clubs and organizations have a mission statement that says they were open. And one of them was a Theo School Club, which was women in ministry. And there was a federal complaint filed that the Biden administration, this is not a Trump administration, the Biden administration made us change language in that charter in order to be compliant with federal law. So that is something that happens routinely as things would go in place and then you have to do things, you know, so I think there's also, different, times where different movements are louder, certainly is both. So there's always ways that I've been saying this far too much, but I learned in biology lab, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So if you go around the table, people are dealing that in different ways to do a dissection. So there's many ways to go ahead and respond and see things, right? And that's the, I'm usually don't talk much either, but since it's a brand new center, I'm probably the normal, but that's stuff that is out there. So there are ways to go ahead and be flexible. And as I said, SRC has been really flexible and a lot of people go forward because they want to get what is best for the institutions. But I don't sure they're comfortable that also the band, right? So I somewhere really good.
Senator Jenkins, I saw you had your.
I was just gonna say I concur with the Attorney General. But that was it.
Thank you. Senator Dion.
Really quick, just because I'm reading the meeting agenda.
Yeah.
As far as the transcription, it's really not what I was getting at all. I asked.
You can have it added, so.
Yeah, I was saying that I was supporting it because it's not changing that much as far as language, not that I think it's not useful. That's like the complete opposite of what I was trying to say.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Motion to vote by block vote.
Second.
Sorry.
I also wanted to say.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. The thing, could clubs that do wanna divest and the clubs that do not, they don't have to be publicly known to divest. Like, that way, no clubs know which one they're divesting or not, and it maintains the neutrality and anonymity too. And they don't feel like sectioned out or like discriminated against or something, but the only people that would know that is like the cabinet, that they will still just be upholding those that are following the divestment laws. Or like the regulation standards, I don't know what the words are. The only people that would know that is the executive cabinet Bob to give funding.
The short answer is potentially,
Okay.
because again, if there's litigation that would occur, then that would, obviously be clear. I also don't understand why a club would be supportive of divesting and not promote that.
Sure.
Right, so that is something that's, I think, the purpose of it, is to be able to go take a stand in the public. Because you're believing in certain principles, right, so that is stuff that is there. Obviously, if there is a lawsuit and there's depositions like that, right, the most nuclear of experiences, and you just feel that occurs. We've not, seen that ever before in the student public organization here. Will typically, again, that's going to happen much more in a public institution because of the public.
Thank you. Sarah, that's,
Sorry, what did the administration make? The charter, require you change that charter?
We had to change a couple of pieces of language to make sure that the women's caucus, which already was open to all members of the campus community. The Biden administration also made us take down a different scholarship that we named for people that just fit into a certain racial category. So there was a Black astronaut that passed away and a scholarship named after him. That was not allowed to be on your website because it's only open to certain populations. The federal laws on discrimination are rather broad and interpreted in different ways. That said, the Trump administration has fired most of the investigators, and so, file an OTR complaint now and see what happens. Both the New York office, the Philadelphia office, and 3 other offices around the nation are shuttered. So that is stuff that is there, which really limits the rights of students and other institutions. So and that was an action that was done in a lot of different schools. It's just a couple of nonprofits that go after colleges based upon what's on the website.
thank you. Does anyone else have anything to say? Are there any motions? Yes.
Motion to vote by block.
Okay. Yates.
Yeah.
Anyone's- Nays. Abstentions. How many other abstentions? 4. Is it 13 and 12?
Yeah,
Threshold, it is the majority or is it?
It's a 2/3 majority.
It's a what?
2/3 majority.
That's about as good as I can.
Total amount of people. No, it's in total. Yeah.
Oh, count senator group that moved to the back.
There's 12. We have a center in the bathroom.
Yeah, 13. So,
For the 12 people, there's 4 abstentions, 7 was there, it's. If I'm gonna say 9, 9 and 4 is 13. I did 13. And they just switch one.
yeah, so that's, everybody voted for that.
So,
If there was 9 yeas, 4 abstentions, everyone did vote.
but
Yeah,
there are 13 senators.
yeah, there's certain, yeah, 1 on Zoom, 12 in person. That's good.
Senator, do you have-
Yeah, just a quick like procedural question. I guess it's not relevant now. I'm gonna assume the answer is no. We have something that we're voting on, right? Doesn't pass. It's like done as far as like anything we can say, right? My question is because, and I'm saying this in regards to privacy. Sometimes, and it's not just this meeting, I'm curious as to why some senators will. Either, I guess this is true of people that say like yes, right, will either abstain or say no without. Kind of, especially in the case of abstentions, not say anything. when
They don't
we're
have to say
talking about it.
anything.
No, and I understand that, it's just, I was wondering if that would open us to ask people, but if it's a privacy thing. You know, I get that as
You
well.
can ask, but they don't have to say anything. But this is a. Big conversation. Next, we'll move on to Pro Tempore Civic, last Saturday catering. This is short enough, you can.
Okay. Sponsored by Executive Cabinet, co-sponsored by Senator Azim, Senator Pratt, Senator Ahmed, Senator Dempsey, Senator Gupta, Senator Prince, and Senator Castro. Whereas the student government of the College of Liberal Arts of Drew University has a decent budget left that must be spent, given there is no rollover budget allocation. Whereas this Saturday, May 3rd, 2025 is Drew University's last Saturday. Whereas this year, we were informed by student engagement that there would be no food trucks at this event in the evening period due to no club or organization contribution. Whereas typically on last Saturday, many students tend to be under the influence, and we must ensure that we not only have an amazing time, but also ensure as the representatives of the student body, that our constituents are safe and well fed. Whereas we do not have the means to contact food trucks, but we do have the means to purchase from multiple restaurants in Morris County. I'll skip the restaurants, but be it resolved that the student government of the College of Liberal Arts of Drew University shall allocate $1,631.08, most of the remaining budget that the Student Government Association has left to fund the food services for last Saturday.
CFO Mosig, is that indeed the remaining budget? Check. Thank you. Anybody have anything to say? About this? Yes.
How will this food be distributed? Is there a plan for that? Oh, yeah, so, we made a request on Gazebo for tips to be put outside of Charlie Brown Circle. If it does happen to rain, I know, the deans are switching it to the EC, correct, if it works? If it rains, last Saturday, we'll have to decide the EC, correct? I heard something around it, almost sure.
I don't know, if it's some people potentially, I guess, depending on the, that's the point of being sloppy if you're dry, but that's a personal choice decision.
Yeah, it looks like we might have, if we end up having to transition into the EC, we'll just do it there, but 9 times out of 10, we'll be in Charlie Brown Circle, we'll be in the array of tables. We'll set it up, and members of student government will serve that food to the student body. Yeah.
Do you have an itemized list of what you wanted to buy?
It's
Anybody got
inside of, it's at the top.
My bad. Yes.
If it does rain, can you just go to the London Lounge, serve there?
Or Charlie Brown, it's bigger,
No.
for the amount of students.
I just do.
Does anyone else have anything to say? Yes.
This is gonna be like enough for like everyone there, right? Cause I know there's like a lot of, there will probably be around like. I'd say,
Over 500.
yeah, over 500.
Typically, if you look at the food truck landscape last year, it was really a first come, first served basis. Once the food trucks ran out of inventory, they just left, so it's the same instance here. We're literally maxing out our entire budget to fund this, so it'll really just be a first come, first served initiative, and we'll try to cut the servings as best as our ability to maximize servings for all the students. But yeah, we're ordering from a decent amount of places, and we're ordering the biggest portions that we can from these menus from the various catering restaurants, so it should work, but there's also gonna be food during the day as well. Supplied by Gourmet is gonna be a variety of sandwiches. That's only for the first half of last Saturday. Once we transition into that night period, last Saturday goes on up until 10 p.m., sometimes 12 a.m. So this would be the second phase of dining for students. Comms will still be open as well, but 9 to 10, all students will be hanging out in Hollywood Circle the entire time.
Very general.
Questions, will we need to work this?
Yes, and whoever's willing to help serve food,
Okay.
that would be great.
The next question is, if this is passed, who is going to be picking it up? Cause, they will not be able to participate in soccer first. You.
Oh, yeah, I was.
Figured out a time.
From the contacts that I've made with all the various restaurants, the most ideal time to pick up food is between the 5 o'clock and 6 p.m. window. So if anyone is available that has a car, is available to pick up food, that would be great. We did, inquire about delivery, but not all the restaurants do delivery, and we would have to tip. And that will kind of be hard with our club card, so we just opted to just do pickup and that maximize saving, putting more money towards food rather than paying tipping drivers, so, yeah, we definitely need senators to contribute if they can.
Yes,
I volunteer.
sorry. Volunteer,
Yeah.
okay.
Volunteer, drive or just or? Drive. Oh.
I could drive too, for this a lot of people. Is that, what the first of it?
Motion to vote by block vote.
Yes,
Sorry. I think I like the first one.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Those who observe get to eat first. But, yeah, there's an incentive to helping out.
yes,
But an inquiry, is it, if it's a non-block vote, this goes senator by senator?
Yes,
Okay.
so, if you go by procedure, if you do block vote, it's everyone raises their hand. If you do roll call, we call individual senator and ask for their vote. And what's still, and then secret ballot, we do either a paper ballot or we form.
yes. Motion to vote by block vote, so. Second. Okay.
Yes.
Who seconded?
Oh, she.
Lot of people.
One.
Yeah.
One.
Three, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yay.
Extensions.
One.
Okay, pass. Next on the action items, the Woodland Raid 2.
I just make a.
Yeah, just read through it.
No, I mean, can I just make a point of inquiry first, to new senators, I just read out the resolutions, I don't specifically make them, it's just. Cause I'm president pro tempore, I do read them out, so,
Specifically, resolutions created by the executive.
yeah,
Yes.
okay. Sponsored by Executive Cabinet, co-sponsored by Senator Ahmed. Whereas the student government of the College of Liberal Arts of Drew University hosted a Woodland Raid last Saturday. Due to the legislation sponsored by Senators Rubio Maradon, Mr. Sawang, and Co. Whereas this Saturday, May 3rd, 2025 is Drew University's last Saturday. Whereas we would like to host this raid again this year, as the student engagement had a great turnout. Whereas at 1 p.m. on last Saturday, the Woodland Rave will begin, whereas we don't need any financial support to host that event. Be it resolved that the CLA student government approves the hosting of Drew Woodland Rave on the 3rd day of May of the year 2025, providing students with another unforgettable experience and enhancing campus life.
Thank you. Yes.
Was this like a school event?
Yeah, last year, no, it would, well, student government approved it last year, right? But specifically, like, it was hosted on, like the three people who actually did the event hosted on their own and they had their own equipment, so it'd be the same.
It wasn't like Res Life or anything like that posting, it was just word of mouth.
Yeah, to add on to that, it was specifically, it was a senator like initiative to have another element to last Saturday. And within that process, the three international, there's three senators that represent international students at the time created this resolution. They had a friend who would take over and do the DJing and everything for free. And we're doing that same process again this year with another student that is willing to contribute their skills, so.
Thank you. Does anyone have a, bless you, does anyone have a motion?
Motion to vote by block vote.
Yes.
Yay.
Extensions. Okay, that's all. That's all for the action items. Next we move to senator and committee updates. So Chair I do.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys an update on the meeting we had with President Lincoln as a committee on Tuesday. We met with President Lane, VP Silver, and VP Merck to revisit Drew's socially responsible investment policy. So the current policy that stands was created in 2013, and it prohibits investments in firearms, tobacco, coal, and oil and gas. While we did confirm that small amounts and companies like Texas Instruments and Boeing, these don't violate that policy. For that reason, the administration, like, I'll say, the more important thing is that the administration agreed to launch the 12 to 18 month process to refresh the policy. That was from 2013. Starting this June with full involvement from students, faculty, staff, and trustees. Process will use our recent research and company lists that SRC created as its starting point. Because of this institutional commitment to tackling both divestment and transparency collaboratively and long term, we believe that a student referendum on these issues is no longer critically necessary at this time. We'll continue pushing for transparency tools like a one-pager on investments and ensure student voices stay centered throughout.
Thank you. Last Saturday was the Alumni Relations Committee meeting that I went to. They, for updates for you guys, they just spoke about Kimberly Georgia, who's the director of the Career Center, and what she's doing. And they talked about how like average incomes after Drew compared to the national average, and the initiatives they're doing with connecting Drew students post-graduation with alumni to get their careers started, and employment figures out like the percentage of people pursuing graduate school versus employment. Does anybody else have senator or committee updates? Cool. Move on to the Bob report.
Yeah, so we finished up our allocations last Friday. Thank you, Ben, very big help to it. We allocated 88,900 and we have 11,100 for the ad hoc. I emailed pretty much all the clubs Monday night, Tuesday morning about everything we're getting, so all the clubs are all updated for the next year.
Thank you. Attorney General report,
Oh, and your report.
Chief of Staff report, Chief Communications Officer report, President Pro Tempore report.
Congrats to all the new senators and congrats to all the returning senators. I look forward to working with you all this next year.
Now. Announcements and upcoming events. So as is tradition, the last student government meeting of the year should be adjourned by secret ballots.
You all have been given a paper, if you need a pen, I have one.
Thank you. Unless you don't want to.
You can't say no.
Because I got the same drill. I think.
Oh, boy, yes, all those in favor?
You missed one. Very.
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
Secret ballot.
It's not gonna, we're even, because, we have to make it 4 people doing it, I'm working on this stuff, because I'm so happy about that. It's all right, I mean, that's. Yeah, if you want, yeah, but it's like one is that big, I think. It's 4 people an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah, just tell her to super chat. Yeah, she wants to. Oh. You did great, right? Yeah. I love it.
What do you think? Picture new alternate, new senators. All, that might take a return. Well, you're elected, so yes.
Yeah.
You know, this stuff is, hey, yo, Zaire. You know, this stuff is on YouTube. Yeah. They never asked for my consent, bro. Every time, yeah.
Oh, you too?
Yes, here.
That's not my fault.
I probably.